Hello everyone and welcome to Read Every Day. It's day 12 and today our reading will look at 4 questions of purpose, and as we read today we'll be focusing on the purpose, learn and remember, and to do that we will look at linking words and sentences. Hello everybody and welcome to Linking Words. We're going to look at understanding when you're reading. To do that, this video will look at the meaning of sentences that use the linking words unless and if. To begin with, Joe cannot go to the party unless his sister goes with him. So what does unless mean? It means under any other circumstance than, except if. The only time is if, or you might say, but if his sister goes, he can go. So put the sentence into your own words, and you might say, Joe cannot go to the party. The only time this will happen is if his sister goes too. Or Joe can go to the party only if his sister goes with him. Or maybe Joe cannot go to the party except if his sister goes. Now remember, then Joe can go. So in putting one sentence into your own words, you might be using 2 or more sentences. We're going to be using the structure of rap. If you're not sure about rap, go across to the video and review that. So we read, then we ask the question, then we put it into our own words. So the question for today is, what does it mean? And for these sentences, we're looking only at the meaning of the linking words. Are you ready? Let's begin. Joe cannot go to the party if his sister goes with him. Remember what the meaning is? If is used as a conjunction. So what does it mean? On condition that, in the event that, to introduce the only circumstances in which Joe can go. You might, after you've thought about what does it mean, think about it in your own sentences. These are the sentences I would think. Joe can only go to the party if his sister doesn't go with him. Joe cannot go to the party unless his sister doesn't go. Or Joe can go to the party, his sister can't go with him. Did you get something similar to that? Good. Let's have a look at both those sentences together. Now these sentences mean different things because of the use of if and unless, and that's why we look directly at that linking word to find out what the sentence means. So Joe cannot go to the party if his sister goes is different to Joe cannot go to the party unless his sister goes with him. So make sure you're using those words if and unless correctly. Let's have another practice. Maxine cannot go to school if she is not well. So what does it mean? Same meaning because we're using it as a connective or linking word. On condition that, to introduce the only circumstances in which Maxine can go. Next, we put it into our own words and think about how would I say it? Well, I could say it differently. Maxine cannot go to school. She can only go to school when she is well. It's not as good. I've had to use 2 sentences. If she is ill, Maxine must stay at home. That's a little easier. Or Maxine cannot go to school unless she is well. What about if the sentence was, Maxine cannot go to school unless she is well. Well, we looked at what does it mean. It's got the same meaning as we've used it in the other sentences. To think about the only time she can go. So if I put that sentence into my own words, I would be thinking, Maxine cannot go to school. She can only go to school if she is well. I've had to use two sentences to say the same thing because I didn't use the word unless. If she is ill, Maxine must stay at home. Maxine cannot go to school unless she definitely isn't ill. And what about the sentences together? Maxine cannot go to school if she is not well. Maxine cannot go to school unless she is well. Do they mean the same thing or do they mean something different? What do you think? And the answer is these sentences mean the same thing. So yes, you can sometimes use the linking word if in a similar sentence to the linking word unless. Write this sentence. Razia likes to stay with her sister if her brother goes too. So we said, what does it mean? So we're looking at if used as a conjunction. It means on condition that it's the same meaning we've used for conjunctions for the other sentences, in the event that, to introduce the only circumstances in which Razia can go. So we need to put that into our own words. After we've put what does it mean, we're thinking, Razia likes to be with her brother when she stays at her sister's house. Or Razia likes to stay with her sister, but only when her brother goes as well. And if the sentence was, Razia likes to stay with her sister unless her brother goes too, we're doing the same process. What does it mean? Unless used as that linking word, it means exactly the same as the other sentences we've just looked at. The only time Razia would stay is if her brother goes, she won't like it. Again, the next step, put it into your own words. How might I think about that sentence? Well, I might say, Razia likes to stay with her sister. The only time she likes this is if her brother doesn't go as well. And that's what we call long-winded. It means I've taken a longer time to say something I could have said in a shorter way. And if you're looking at the higher levels of English, then we use the word concise, which means use less words to identify what you want to say. And when we're using unless, that's what happens. I might also thought of it as Razia likes to stay with her sister only if her brother doesn't go with her. And what about those two sentences together? Razia likes to stay with her sister if her brother goes too. Razia likes to stay with her sister unless her brother goes too. Do they mean the same thing or do they mean something different? What do you think? Well, the answer is these sentences do not mean the same thing. Finally, make sure you review how you use if and unless. And you can do that by rewinding the video, looking at the sentences again, looking at other sentences, looking up some different ways of working with if and unless using the internet. So often when we're talking or writing about present situations, we use unless instead of if not. But notice that word often. It means you can't do that all of the time. Unless means except if, or simply it means if not. So unless is good to use when it highlights an exception to what is generally true. Unless highlights the reason for something not happening. What you are talking or writing about is the most important thing. Remember, you cannot just use unless instead of if not, because this does not work with every sentence. So you've really got to think about what do you want to say and how are you going to do that concisely. And enjoy your reading, and again, keep reviewing how you use words. And today, linking words if and unless.
Oh, you caught me reading. Well, don't forget, it's read every day and see you for day 13. Bye now.